stock Blastoff after Q2 earnings for Tesla. This is our preview show for earnings that arrive tomorrow. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters as well as our subscribers. And please join if you enjoy material presented. So I wanted to review today kind of our earnings preview. Why has it been late? I call this the conflicted data zone. So as you've noticed, Tesla has had a process over time where we get some predictability of earnings and everything that's happening, and then we'll switch into these other zones where we have new outcomes, and therefore new outcomes of what happens with the stock. So first, let's review the usual process prior to January was we could simply take the number of vehicles that were produced, multiplied by 60,000 on average, which would encompass what's happening with sort of the electric business, that's megapacks, as well as what's happening with cars. And so everything was hunky-dory. Then after you figure out the revenue number, all you have to do is take a 30% margin, somewhere between 26 and 30%. We had a winner in terms of what the both revenue and profit number might be. Now, that completely changed last quarter. We went from, we had, consistent growth when it came to revenue, but all of a sudden our numbers dropped down from a nice comfy heading for 30% into the high teens, low 20s when it came to Tesla's margin. So the question mark is, what are we headed into this time around? And it's my belief that what kind of happened this quarter is Tesla experimented with lower prices to pick up margin, but then strategically started lowering prices on Model 3 and raising the prices somewhat back to where they were before the price lowering on the rest of the line. So the question that comes up then is, are we kind of returning to the old profit margins, ballparking it? Are we around where we were before? There's somewhat of an unknown zone that we're in relative to where Tesla stock price will be based on earnings we're going to see coming in for the quarter. So the answer we're coming up with is similar to what we saw last quarter. The fact is that, the hedge funds are excitable and are looking for high earnings figures so they can plug those into the models and justify a rising stock price. We ran into the same challenge this quarter as last, which is we're now starting to bake in statistics related to what's going to happen with charging in a year and a half. And so what's going to happen with the semi and its growth of numbers. So there are all of these forward-looking, no numbers have arrived yet situations. And Elon will give us some clue, but tends to keep things under the vest and allow the numbers to speak for themselves. So as a result, I really think we end up with the same thing that we ended up last quarter. The numbers come out, the hedge funds aren't happy, the stock price dips, then the large funds have a chance to make their statements, and they come through showing strength for the stock, and therefore we end up with a net up on the stock, but maybe not right away. So I wanted to sort of dive into this from a third angle that I thought was kind of interesting, which is if you watch the put-call ratio as we go into earnings, I think that's going to be big, because what I believe is going to happen is that the large, powerful sort of hedge funds, if you will, have the ability to sort of pinch the stock and hold it in a place that they'd like to publicly, even if in the dark pool and other places, the stock is trading however it really should trade. So as a result, I've actually spoken with several sort of traders on a small scale who've lost a lot of money surrounding earnings, because it's my belief that's actually what happens at or near Tesla's earnings, is that you have a situation where some very powerful institutions are sort of gaming the stock and can sort of control price for 1 or 2 days and optimize income against what the general public might be doing. So it can look like the analysis you're using to sort of figure out what's going on is not that great, but the reality could be that whatever the general trend is being exploited by investor traders who have more market moving abilities. So if you do see things get kind of gnarly, I would argue that hang in there for a week or two, because control can be exerted effectively in a short period, but over time, sort of the natural rollout of things can result in numbers going way different than you saw in the first 24, 48 hours after earnings have been announced. So I think there's a possibility Tesla ends up in the above 300 heading for 350 zone, just because you have a lot of new revenue when it comes to megapacks. You have new revenue in terms of Cybertruck arriving. You do have some sort of margin issues when it came to Elon's lowering of price, but that's also being addressed as well in terms of those prices being raised again. So I just think that there's a nice collection of positives for Tesla that will be brought to bear in the stock, but I really think that it will not happen in the right-of-way zone, if you will, because of the number of entities that are enjoying controlling how and when those numbers roll out effectively. So we very much look forward to getting these numbers in and then leveraging those numbers for future statements. Keep an eye on what Elon has to say this round, because I really think that what he does say, little things about Cybertruck or other things, will have severe impacts on where things end up. At any rate, we very much look forward to your comments on all this. Let's keep our fingers crossed. I really think that margin pressure short term is still going to affect things, and so don't be surprised if we do get a dip on that margin number announcement. This is the end of our formal statements in terms of what our thoughts were on where stock was headed. We're now into our health tips. As usual, just a reminder, your 25 leg lifts per day that are listed in the list below, highly recommended. Don't forget, salad only prior to lovemaking to ensure that you don't have any loss of effectiveness based on blood flow just going to your stomach. Also want to encourage you on the 20-minute walk a day. Excellent way to maintain mental and physical health, and 2 a days aren't bad either. So I haven't added anything new to that list recently. The once a week fried foods is also a big deal we've discussed before. And we also look forward to any of you that are health professionals who would like to share some ideas with us. Would be appreciated as well. At any rate, once again, thanks for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, au revoir, lahitro, khoda hafiz, draziche, ni hao ma, namaste. And in Jamaica we say, enough respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and bye for now.